You've heard it before. It's the middle of the night. The house is dark and quiet and everyone is asleep. And then, out of nowhere, a bird starts singing. Full song, not a chirp, not an alarm call. A real, complete, melodic song at 2 in the morning like it's the most normal thing in the world. Most people assume it's a fluke, a confused bird, a streetlight that tricked it, a one-time thing. They roll over and go back to sleep and never think about it again. But if you've ever heard that sound and felt like something about it was slightly wrong, like the world had slipped a little out of order, your instinct was closer to the truth than you realized. Because that bird singing in the dark is not confused. It is not broken. It is not being fooled by a porch light. What it's actually doing is far stranger, far more specific, and reveals something about the inner life of birds that most people spend their entire lives never knowing. Tonight we're going into that sound. What causes it, which birds do it, what it means, and why the answer changes the way you understand every bird that has ever visited your yard. Welcome to Secret Life of Birds. If you're new here, subscribe before we go any further. Because what this channel covers happens in your yard every single day and night, completely invisible. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Stay until the end. Because the last thing we cover is the reason that hits hardest. And it's the one that makes that 2 a.m. song feel like something completely different once you understand what's behind it. If you live in a suburban or urban neighborhood in North America, and you've heard a bird singing in the middle of the night, there is an overwhelming probability that you heard an American robin. Not an owl, not a nightingale. A robin. The exact same robin you see hopping across your lawn in the afternoon. Robins are deeply associated with morning. The dawn chorus, that explosion of bird song in the hour before sunrise, is often led by robins. Their song is practically synonymous with daybreak. So why are they singing at 2 a.m.? Here's the answer, and it is not what anyone expects. Robins don't experience light the way you do. A robin's eye contains photoreceptors wired directly to its hormonal system. When light crosses a certain threshold of intensity, a biological cascade begins that is almost impossible to stop once triggered. Natural sunlight triggers it, but so does artificial light. Street lights, porch lights, the ambient glow of a lit neighborhood. A robin roosting near a lit street will, on certain nights, register that light as sunrise. Not metaphorically, biologically. The same hormones that flood a robin system at dawn flood it now, at midnight, because the signal it evolved to respond to has been triggered by a lamppost. And a robin flooded with dawn hormones does what robins do at dawn. It sings. Research from the University of Sheffield tracked robins in urban environments and found that light pollution was the primary driver of nocturnal singing in the species. With birds in brighter neighborhoods singing earlier, singing longer, and singing at hours that had no relationship to actual sunrise. The more artificial light, the more displaced the singing. Your neighborhood has essentially hacked a robin's internal clock. And that song you heard at 2 a.m. is the sound of a bird whose ancient biological system is responding to a world it didn't evolve for. Number 2, it's not just robins. And the reason the others do it is more complicated. Robins are the most common source of nocturnal song in American suburbs, but they are not the only one. The northern mockingbird is the other, and its reasons are completely different. A male mockingbird that does not have a mate will sing at night. This is documented extensively, and the pattern is precise. Mated males go quiet after dark. Unmated males keep going, sometimes all night, for weeks. The song is not distress, it is not confusion, it is advertising. Mockingbirds are one of the most vocally complex birds on the continent. A single male can produce over 200 distinct song types, many of them mimicked from other species. When a female mockingbird evaluates a potential mate, she is partly evaluating his repertoire. The more songs, the more experience. The more time spent learning, the more attractive the male. An unmated male singing at 2 a.m. is not a bird that has lost track of the time. He is a male who has not yet found a mate, who is running out of breeding season, who is competing against every other male in the territory for the attention of females who are awake and listening and making decisions. He is singing for his future. If you have ever heard a mockingbird going through an endless, shifting, almost frantic sequence of songs in the small hours of the morning, what you were hearing was urgency. Biological, evolutionary urgency. A bird for whom silence means reproductive failure. Number 3. What the science says is actually being communicated. Here's the part that changes the way you think about all of it. For a long time, nocturnal birdsong in non-nocturnal species was treated as an anomaly, an error, something to explain away. But researchers studying the phenomenon more carefully began to notice something that complicated that picture. The birds singing at night were not singing randomly. They were singing better. Studies on robin song quality, specifically on the acoustic complexity of songs recorded at different times of day, found that songs recorded in the pre-dawn hours, including the middle of the night in urban birds, showed higher frequency ranges, more complex phrasing, and cleaner note production than songs recorded at peak daytime hours. The reason is noise. Daytime in a suburban environment is acoustically crowded. Traffic, lawn equipment, construction, the background hum of human activity. Sound at lower frequencies, the frequencies that dominate human noise pollution, physically interferes with birdsong. It masks it, it distorts it. A bird singing in the afternoon in a busy neighborhood is competing against a wall of sound that degrades the range and clarity of its communication. At 2 a.m., the noise floor drops. The acoustic environment clears. A song sung at midnight in a quiet neighborhood can travel 2, 3, 4 times the distance of the same song sung at noon. Some researchers now believe that for urban birds, nighttime singing is not just a hormonal accident or a desperation move. It is a rational, acoustic strategy. The bird has, over generations of urban living, discovered that the quiet hours carry its message further. This is not a behavior that evolved over millions of years. This is adaptation happening in real time. Urban robins singing earlier and earlier, in some populations singing through the night, are responding to an environment that has only existed for decades. They are changing within a span of generations that is almost too short to measure. Before we get to the last part, which is the one that made me stop and sit with it for a long time, if this is the kind of thing that makes you look at your yard differently, hit subscribe and leave a like. It genuinely helps this channel reach people who would want to know this, and it costs you nothing. Okay, let's finish this. Number 4. The one that changes the feeling of the whole thing. Everything so far has an explanation. Light pollution, hormones, acoustic strategy, reproductive pressure. These are clean, scientific answers to a strange phenomenon. But there is one more piece of this, documented in research, but harder to fit into a clean box. And it is the one that stays with you. Studies on bird stress physiology have measured cortisol levels, the primary stress hormone, in birds across different environmental conditions. Urban birds living in close proximity to human activity, artificial light, and noise, show chronically elevated cortisol baselines compared to their rural counterparts. Chronic elevated cortisol means chronic low-grade stress. The bird is not in acute danger. It is not fleeing a predator. It is simply existing in an environment that its nervous system registers, constantly as slightly wrong. And some researchers who study nocturnal singing in urban birds have proposed something that is difficult to state in purely mechanical terms, but that the data keeps pointing toward. Some of these birds may be singing at night because they cannot sleep, not in the human sense, but in the sense that a nervous system running too hot, in an environment too bright and too loud and too unpredictable, does not settle into the deep recovery that a healthy bird in a dark, quiet habitat would find. The song at 2 a.m. is, in some documented cases, coming from a bird whose system cannot fully stand down. Think about the robin you heard, the one that woke you up. You lay there in the dark and thought it was strange, and then you went back to sleep in your warm house, and eventually the singing stopped. And somewhere in the tree outside your window, in a world permanently lit and permanently noisy in ways that nothing in its evolution prepared it for, a bird was doing the only thing its biology knows how to do, with an activated nervous system at 2 in the morning. It sang what you can do, and why it matters more than you think. This is not a story without something useful at the end. If nocturnal singing is being driven partly by artificial light, then light matters. Motion activated outdoor lights instead of lights that burn all night, keeping porch lights off when they're not needed. Closing blinds that let indoor light spill into trees where birds roost. These are small things. They feel disproportionately small next to what's been described here. But the birds in your yard are running their ancient systems in a world that is changing faster than those systems can adapt. The robin in your maple is not failing, it is trying. With every tool its biology gave it, in every quiet window the night allows, it is trying. And on some nights, it tries at 2 a.m. Now you know what that sound is. Not a glitch, not a coincidence. A bird navigating a world it did not choose, doing the thing it was built to do, in the only moment the world goes quiet enough to do it well. The next time you hear it, you won't roll over and go back to sleep the same way. See you in the next one.